Yeah.
It's 12 degrees outside right now.
It's literally like
I'm in
that
shorts.
cold right now.
Make sure you tell them that this video was not my idea. I don't send the children out in freezing cold temperatures to record videos. Make sure they know that this is all your idea.
Okay.
You're not being punished.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in where it's warm.
We should never have done that.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Suburban Pilgrim Show. So it's probably the worst intro ever, but like, we're just gonna go with it. What were we talking about? This week is gonna be a little different because, so what's gonna happen is, that made no sense at all. So I'm gonna start taking over the show, but that still sounds weird. Like, what are you doing? Are you gonna break this channel?
We're taking over
Probably.
the show.
Like, I don't trust myself with anything, so this.
Well, you can have
Malachi can do it for you. So this week we are going to be talking about homeschooling, which I feel like that's kind of like, what is that? When you are full-timing, you kind of like have to like, you know, homeschool, like unless you're just, I don't know what else you would do, but that's great too. Whenever you meet someone, usually they're asking you about like homeschooling, like how do you homeschool, you know, in the trailer, like what books do you use, like what do you do? So we're gonna be answering some of your questions about that, and we're also just gonna be talking about kind of like how, like what the difference is between like homeschooling in a house and like books and stuff, and then homeschooling on the road.
That sounds like a motorcycle.
Like already off to
knows
just a great start.
Now that we've started on the road, we've been on the road for a little over a year, and we do a lot more unschooling, so we don't do near as many books as we used to do when we were living in a house. Yeah, it's a lot more museums and journaling and learning on the road, learning where we go.
One of the things that we really wanted to do is on the road attach experiences that our kids had with whatever they were learning, so that it made it more like fun and
yeah, they would remember more of what they're being taught.
Yeah, because they didn't remember anything before. Which is true. You don't remember any facts or figures, but it's like when you get on the road,
as soon as you're done with that book, you forget. And so,
yeah, it's true. And so being able to like go to a place and have an experience, they remember that experience, that memory, and then we talk about it. They ask questions naturally, and so that learning happens out of experience, which I think is such a great way to learn.
How is the homeschooling going? Any advice in this area? You guys can each answer that, and then we'll let Mommy finish. Mommy.
How's homeschooling going? I feel like it's so much more fun now that we're actually like on the road, because there's so many more things that you can do and learn about. I think when you're just like at home and sitting down, there's not a ton that you can do, and but now that we're like finally on the road, I think it's a lot more fun for us.
Well, it's definitely a lot funner than public school, but you don't do as much.
You don't do as much as in public school, or you don't do as much homeschooling?
Well, you don't do as much like
actually,
books.
papers.
Yeah,
We don't do a lot of papers.
but still does that. We still do it like 4 or 5 books.
But you'd say we still have learned you good, right?
Yeah. I think that it's a little weird because it's a lot smaller and the TV's like right next to you.
No, we're talking about homeschooling now.
You know?
Oh, you're talking about just because you're in your living room?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's better because in Will school you do it for 7 hours, and here in homeschool you just do it for 4.
Advice for homeschooling: make it fun. I think it's really easy to make your homeschool just like regular school, which is, if you like that, if you choose to do that, that's your choice. But I really, I think parents homeschool, because they don't really want that same everyday schooling that goes on like in public school. or private school. You have a lot of different reasons for homeschooling, and so it's really easy to fall into the same trap of just having your kids sit at a table and, you know, read tons of books and do paperwork, and it's easy, you know, to do that. So I think it is more work to sit there and, you know, try to find things. I try to teach them all the same thing. It makes it easier for myself than them all learning something different. I try for us all to, you know, be learning, especially
Like
for history and
math
science.
and stuff there.
Math,
Different.
yeah. But even with math, it's like Eric is still doing yeah. I mean, so much. If they're all learning, they're still doing money. So all three can do money. They're, you know, so there's a lot that you can add that all three can do, and of course at different levels. But you know, it makes it so much easier if you do that instead of trying to find a different book for every child and different age group. You can really pick and pull, which is something I've learned over the years. At first, I very much did, you know, every child sat at the table, and I think I was probably a miserable teacher at the time. I enjoy it a lot more, and the kids, they definitely enjoy it a lot more.
And the other thing I would say is the cool thing, obviously you guys might not be traveling on the road, but the nice thing about homeschooling regardless is that you have flexibility to customize their education with what you're doing. So I mean, if they're going to learn about something in science or something in history, you're able to like go to places and kind of move the classroom to different places. I think for a lot of people, like you were saying, the classroom is just always like right here, read these books, and then we're done with school. And that's fine if you want to do it that way, but we've done it that way for a while, and we just feel like now, like we're like, why are we doing that? We can do so much more. We can be more creative in how we're teaching and try to, for me, the big thing is always attaching experiences and memories with what they're learning.
Yeah.
So rather than just reading a book,
I think like we just drove by Mark Twain's cabin, which I think, you know, the kids, they've read Mark Twain and they know
read Mark Twain and seen the movie.
And so they know who he is, but to actually see that he was a real person and see where he lived, that is, you know, making school come alive to them. So I think stuff like that, it's like, you know, we were just driving down the road and there it was. So I think it really makes the kids,
I saw the sign.
it
that
attaches
said,
things to them to where they're able to really hang on to it and not forget.
not a bad day, huh?
This is why I love homeschooling. The kids, everything is so hands-on for them. They can come and learn about tides and tide pools, and then we can go home and discuss it, and they know what they're learning about because they've already put their hands in it and realize they can feel the waves moving back and forth, and it's so much easier to explain to a child what a tide is when they've had their feet in it and they've touched it and felt it.
Oh, buddy, you okay? You okay?
It's so much more fun for them to be able to learn that way, and it's fun for adults too because it's not so much work on us.
I think the coolest thing about the homeschooling for us is being able to take experiences and attach those to what the kids are learning, you know. So obviously that really lends itself to like history, but also I think geography and learning about, you know, minerals and science and certain things like that, where we can, if the kids are learning about a specific thing, it's more like we're going to go somewhere, so we're going to tailor their education and what they're learning about, books they're reading, to what they're going to go experience, and then they can touch it and feel it and hopefully attach a memory and an experience to something they're learning. Most people who start homeschooling, we found, tend to make homeschooling as close to public school as they could, or whatever school environment they came from.
Yep.
They try to just do that at home.
Yeah.
We're always like, because we did the same thing, and we're like, why did we do that? Well, like, we wanted something different, but we tried to make it exactly what it was.
It was just public school at home.
Yeah,
It was
exactly,
totally,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So then you kind of ease off that a little bit and go into like another stage of just a little more lax. You start to like maybe shorten the hours a little bit and realize maybe we don't need to do all this paperwork. And then, like for full-timers who go into the RV, what we've seen is most people tend to eventually to the unschooling side, which is just, you get rid of most of the books and most, if not all of the paperwork, and school just becomes life. And so school, it's not like you're never doing school, it's just that learning is always happening.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, it's school all the time. And I think it's so different in the way that I think we try to use everything that's going on as a learning lesson, or, how can you?
Naturally.
Yes, it is. But I think that, you totally don't think of that at home. Like when anything you're building or whatever at home, you don't think, well, this could be a learning lesson. Get all the kids out here, and it's
but not even that, because we found that kids will learn what they need to learn. Like, we're not worried that our kids aren't going to read.
Of course, there are basics.
Yeah, sure.
Different. Like with math and that kind of thing. It's like, yes, there are basics that your children need to know. They're not just going to learn that on their own just by camping.
I learned arithmetic from campfire logs. Right.
I counted rocks.
Yes. Yes. So I think we're not totally unschoolers in the way that there are definitely things. I don't want people being like, their kids aren't going to know anything. It's like, we believe, yes, there are definitely basics that children need to know. But I think we make it so complicated thinking that it has to be done a certain way. And
for every kid.
Yes, and I think that we now are much more relaxed in letting kids have the freedom to learn. And to learn,
this lifestyle just lends itself to putting your kids in different environments that may spark an interest in them that you didn't even know was there. And so with this lifestyle, you're able to really reinforce that, because that might be something in your kids that they just love. And that natural desire for learning is just upped like crazy. So they're wanting to consume so much. And it's so easy nowadays because information's free and it's everywhere and it's accessible. So we're not so concerned about teaching facts or what is the word? I guess just not information. What do you get online?
I don't know what you're trying to
I don't know. What you get online?
That math stuff.
You don't need that math stuff. But there's I guess, information. Is that what it is? Is that fancy word for learning? Information. Our kids are on track. Yes, I think that is what I was trying to say. Information is free and cheap.
She said useless. I said useless.
There we go. It's everywhere.
That is
it. So we're not trying to cram that down their throats. We're just trying to create that desire for them to learn, because they'll go out and learn it.
Yes.
We were talking about how the importance that we can't compare kids to kids, school kids to school kids, or homeschool kids to homeschool kids.
Mm-hmm.
There is a big difference between each and every child and how they learn, or how they process information even, just there's just such a difference that even siblings, you can't compare siblings to siblings, as you have your kids, and just finding the things that they are so intrigued by that they can then just learn so much better, I think, when they're into it. So
yeah.
Tell them about tell them about that. Tell them about that thing.
Yes.
About how as a mom, the stages you go through where you doubt yourself and feel because you're comparing your kids to other.
Right.
Definitely. I think we were even laughing the other night at the campfire, and this one family, we know that they had just pulled their kids out of public school to do this, and the fear I think that you have at first, and it's you're so worried that your child's going to be behind. That's the big thing, that they're not going to grasp, and that you're failing them in some way. And I think that mommy guilt that you have, and every mom has it, every parent, is you're so worried. And I think, now I don't know where I was going with that.
We have 3 kids. Stop laughing at me.
Thank goodness for editing.
Yeah. So our 2 youngest kids, not 3, our 2 youngest kids, I don't teach them, by the way. They read at a really early age, and they had a natural hunger to learn how to read, so it was easy. Our youngest son, Zealand, didn't. He didn't care.
He's in his own world about everything. He just was different. I mean, if you've ever seen...
You're special, Z.
You're our special kid.
I know. Every time I think of the movie The Fox, what is it? And they say he's different.
The Incredible Mr. Fox.
Yeah, have you guys seen that?
I hear it's really good. It's so good.
It's very funny. But yeah, he just wasn't. I would say he's very much more artistic than the other two, and so yeah, we started reading at 5, and he was just not into it at all. And then I tried again at 6, and then I tried again at 7, and he
didn't even care.
No, it was a struggle. I would bring out the book that had the phonics and stuff in it, and I immediately no.
Hold on, I gotta just stop. Keep your thought going.
So he just hated it in every way, and so I just thought, this is just going nowhere. And again, I'm failing him. I'm not a good teacher. And I had this mom that I had met who was a full-timer, and she had 6 kids. And she just told me, she's like, just stop. Just take a step back. Don't keep forcing him, because he's going to end up hating it. And she just said, wait until he asks you. There's no, I think us as parents, we put a time at 6 months they're crawling. Oh, my child's not crawling. And,
but our culture does.
Yes. And I think, moms get together and they're constantly saying, well, my child walked at 8 months and my child. And so, I'm like, he's 7 years old. He's not reading. And I'm feeling so guilty. And so she was just like, there's not a time card of when children are supposed to do something. We make that up ourselves, and we set us in that box of feeling bad about it. And so she said that she had children read at 5 and 6, and then she had a child that didn't read till he was 12, where he was able to really read on his own and liked it. And so
she said now he loves it.
Yeah.
She forced it
and
earlier
so
on.
So she just said, wait till he'll come to you and, be more interested in it. So I did. I put it down, and it was 6 months, and we just did not do anything. And I would read to him all the time, let him pick the books and everything. And then one day we were in a Barnes and Nobles, and he was looking at these books and stuff. And then he came to me and he said, I want to read all these books. And I said, on your own, or you want to, have me read them? And he was like, I want to read them on my own. And that was the first time that he had ever asked, he wanted to read. He was excited about it. And that was the first time, he went home and had his book, and he was trying to, read the words and sounding them out. And so I was like, okay, she was right. And, it's a process. I mean, it's not like he's still just reading huge books yet, but he's starting to, and he's liking it, and it's not so much of a struggle. And so I think that's a big thing that I've learned as a mom, is just to step back and to know that they may not be ready for something when you think they're ready, that they will know when they're ready to do something, instead of us forcing them to be ready when we think, because society says at 8 years old, if they don't read, then you have a dumb child.
Right.